Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to talk about the 7-volume series Forget Me Not, released by Kodansha, and the original story is by Mag Su. The manga is by now Emoto. I believe this was a novel series, also made into a TV drama, and then a manga after that, I guess. Um, this is a romance drama series with a male main character, and this is him. It starts when he's an adult, and he gets in a scooter accident or whatever, and a woman is the one who calls and gets him to the hospital, and it happens to be a woman who he knew from his past. And so he's trying to figure out who it is that is calling him now, which girl from his past that he feels like he wronged or made a mistake with. He can't figure out which one it is, so it goes back to starting in middle school through up to his adult life there, um, going through all of the females he's been involved with, um, and just kind of going through the mistakes he made with each of them. And I think that a lot of people have said, or I've heard a few people say who have tried to read this, that it's very depressing. I honestly didn't find it to be too depressing. I found it to be sad, but I also found it to be extremely realistic because most people go through several relationships in their lives before they find someone, if they ever find someone they want to settle down with. And you make mistakes. You have petty arguments that sometimes lead to breaking up, and then you realize later how ridiculous that was and what would have happened if you had behaved differently. And that's what this is about. There's a little thing on the back here by a reviewer, I guess, that says Forget Me Not is a bittersweet exploration of the highs and lows of relationships, touching powerfully upon the way small little misunderstandings and mistakes can leave a lifetime of regret. I think that that is an excellent way to describe this series. This is him looking back on all of the little things that he did with all of these girls that caused them to break up, and now looking back going, what if I had stayed with that girl? What if I had done that differently? Where would I be now? Um, and a lot of the mistakes he makes are not unrealistic in any sense. His behavior is not unrealistic. Now, I think that this happening all to one person is a bit unrealistic, but these things could happen to anybody. And especially if you behave and view the world the way that this main character does, this will absolutely happen to you. Um, so, yeah, basically, it goes through all the different girls that he's been with. And the art, if you can tell by the covers, is absolutely gorgeous. It's very new kind of art style. There are points, honestly, where I can see a resemblance in the main character to like an Inio Asano character, um, that I feel like this author kind of really likes his art style and is trying to emulate it, um, because of how similar it looks. But I just kind of, that was something I picked up on. But it doesn't look identical to Inio Asano's art by any means. It just looks like it was trying to be that. Um, I did really like the art. I think it's really nice. This story, to me, I'm not sure if the audience is supposed to be directed at females or males. I honestly don't know. Because of the way that the main character reacts, I can see how um, women might be put off by this series. But then I also, the amount of drama and romance that is in this leads me to believe that it was supposed to be intended for females. Um, I personally don't care about any of that. I read really everything. I love romance stuff and everything, but I just have a hard time trying to figure out who the intended audience is for this. Um, but honestly, I think anybody could find something enjoyable in it if you're into drama romance, that is. Um, I read this all in one sitting. I really, really enjoyed it. I could not put it down. It flows very nicely. It kind of jumps around time-wise because it's present day where he's in his kind of, I guess, mid-20s, back to like middle school, high school, and then adult relationships and whatnot. There is a little bit of sexual themes in here. This is definitely intended for an older audience, rather than like young teens or whatever. This is a more mature romance drama, basically, which I really liked and was refreshing to me because I do read a lot of the high school romance stuff, but this is a bit more mature than those. Yeah, I don't see enough people with this series. I'm not sure why. The covers alone are what grabbed me and drew me into this in the first place. I saw it in the bookstore and just couldn't stop thinking about it. So I researched it and then ended up buying the whole thing. Um, it's Kodansha, so they're not super expensive. And there's only seven, so it's not that much of a commitment. And like I said, I read it in one sitting. It flowed so nicely from start to finish that you just get so captivated by the story and you want to know what's going to happen next. And some of these girls are so delightful. Some of them are not, but this is really a story about a lonely guy regretting all the mistakes that he made with all of these women throughout his life and thinking about what would happen if I had behaved differently in that situation. And I think that's a very real thing for people is, you think back on all your past relationships and you think like, wow, if I had just done that instead, maybe we'd still be together. Maybe I wouldn't be alone right now. Um, and I think that it might be a little unrealistic to think that all of these things would happen to one person, but all of these things separately are so realistic and absolutely happen to people. A couple of these things have happened to me, which is why I think I connected so much with this story, is because like there are points where I was like, okay, wow, that has happened to me before, almost exactly. So, it's really, really a good story. I really enjoyed it. I think it was very well told, and the art is gorgeous. I think definitely more people need to pick up this series. It was so good, and I will probably reread it in the near future because I just loved it so much. I'm really, really glad I got this. So, anyway, if you haven't checked out Forget Me Not, I definitely recommend it. And if you have any questions about it or anything like that, if you've read it and want to chat about it in the comments, feel free. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, thanks for watching. See ya.